Hey Doc, I know you'd probably rather be playing golf today, but Joel Embiid just announced yesterday, the team announced that he's donating significant amount of money. The team has matched it to combat food insecurity. Uh, what does that mean for you as his coach during an All-Star game where he could be really thinking about himself? He's thinking about others.
Oh, I think it says a lot about him, a lot about our young guys. We do talk about a lot of social issues and just, the strife of the world, that we are in a make-believe world. And whenever we can give back and whenever we can join hands, whether it be with our money, with our voices, with our support, we should do that. And I always tell them that it's not required work, but it's good work. And so it's really nice to see Joel do it. And it's also nice to see that our team is backing as well.
Thank you.
Let's go to KC Johnson next.
Hi, Doc. You know what an all-star means to the city of Chicago. What have you seen from Zach LaVine's game and the jump he's made this year?
It's been amazing. His ability to score the basketball, especially in a situation where when you're playing the Bulls, you kind of know where they're going. He's their go-to guy, and yet he's still getting it, and he's doing it efficiently. So, you kind of saw it though, KC. You really did. You saw it coming. He's one of the rare guys. Usually, athletic guys are more, at the basket. We know him for his dunks, but he's a great shooter, and that combination you don't get to see a lot, and we're seeing it now.
Thank you, Doc.
Next is Rob Kessner.
Hey, Doc. In preseason, we talked to Joel. One of his major concerns entering this season was how the team functioned in the half court last season in the postseason. How much improvement do you believe you guys have made in the half court, and are you where you need to be as a team in the half court for the second half of the season?
Well, I don't think any team is where they need to be going into the playoffs yet, but I am very happy and very comfortable, Rob, with where we're at right now. We have proven that. We have won a ton of games this year in the fourth quarter down the stretch through our execution. We have shown all of them how well we can space the floor. And Joel, in particular, has really improved his post passing. I've always thought the job of us as a staff, a coaching staff, is to make sure that we give the players the answers as far as when they do get trapped and where the ball should go. And I think that's something that we have to work on every day. But we almost invite traps, because it usually leads to threes or easy twos for us. So it's been all good thus far. But we still have a lot of work to do.
Next is Keith Pompey.
Hey, how you doing, Doc? Doc, I want to ask you, there's a report that came out that due to contact tracing, there's a possibility that Ben and Joel won't be able to play tonight. Is that true? And can you share what you know about this stuff?
Yeah, I can only share what I know. It's true. We don't know if they'll be able to play or not right now. I would say it's probably not looking great, but I don't know enough information to actually confirm that.
All right, and if the protocol, I guess, would they have to stay here?
I don't know. I literally don't know enough. This all came to me late last night. I look as tired as you guys look on the screen right now, which I don't understand since there's no parties going on. So I don't know what the hell you guys have been doing. Having said that, I'm still getting information. I've gotten about 4 calls this morning. We're just still waiting for the NBA to tell us, what the next steps are.
Thank you, Doc.
Next up is Eric Walden.
Hey, Doc. I cover the Utah Jazz for the Salt Lake Tribune. Mike Conley became a late addition to your team the other day. He became the guy furthest into his career at 14 seasons to become a first-time All-Star in NBA history. Just wondering, how well do you know Mike? What are kind of your plans for him? Are you maybe going to give him a little extra time with it being his first time? Plan to play him with Donovan Mitchell, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I'm really happy for Mike. It's number one, it's great to see him playing well. He's such a great human being. I've known him and his dad. I grew up with his dad in Chicago. A lot of people who don't know his dad was a track star, but was a heck of a basketball player as well growing up. So it's really nice. I have no idea the playing time or anything like that. You kind of find out when you coach these games who actually wants to play and who really wants to play, because there's a difference. A lot of people say they don't want to play and then do. And if I've learned anything, if I'm going to offend anyone, it'll be the West players and not the East players, since the East players I'm going to have to see. I would say that would be my answer.
Next up, Leonardo Torres in Peru. Go ahead, Leonardo.
Hi, Doc. It's Leonardo Torres from Peru. Doc, how to manage so much talent together in an all-star team? I mean, how to focus to win an all-star? Is that possible?
It's possible, yeah. I do remember the days. I mean, the only game I was about to say the last game I played in, but it was the only game I played in was in Chicago, and that was a very, very competitive game. It had a lot of stuff going on in the game with Michael and Isaiah and Magic and all that stuff. It made it a absolutely great game. I remember Michael at halftime coming to me and said, pick up the full court, we're not losing. It was great for me because I was a defensive player, which usually in the All-Star game doesn't work. But in that game, there was defense being played, so it was allowed me to play a lot of minutes. I thought the game last year was phenomenal in the fourth quarter. I'm expecting the replay of that. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to it being a competitive game.
Next up is Tim Reynolds.
Hey, Doc. Everybody's kind of in the same boat, obviously, that everybody's got 36, 35, 37. A few teams have 40 games left. It's going to come even faster and more furious than the first half did. How do you sort of prepare for that, knowing that you're going to have maybe like 5 practice days the rest of the season? How do you sort of deal with all that?
Yeah, Tim, I would say not the way I wanted it for our team, being so young. We are really young when you actually look at the guys that are playing, and to cut off practice time for a young team is usually not good as you've been around. But we're going to have to make do. And I talked to our team about it before the break. We had a long talk about it and how we're going to try to use our shoot-arounds as practices. But I don't know. It's a lot of games, a lot of back-to-backs. I think there'll be missed games by guys. And health. So I'm worried about all that. We often talk about health and protocol. Health and protocol is rest too and play. And so, I'm concerned a little bit about it. I'm concerned for our team a little bit as well.
Let's go to Rachel Nichols and then Dwayne Rankin. Go ahead, Rachel.
Hey, Doc. Just wondering what you know now about Ben Simmons that you didn't know before you coached him.
Well, I didn't know if he could have the ball full time. And he's proven that he can, and he's been unbelievable in that. Rachel, it's funny. I knew Ben was a good defensive player. I didn't know he was what he's been. I really believe he's the most dominant defensive player in the league. And he guards all positions. And when he guards you know it. There's a lot of guys who are good defensive players in our league, and they do a lot of stuff. Ben does it with a physicality that when Ben's guarding you. There's no doubt about that. And it's been I've been surprised at his power and his IQ defensively.
Personality-wise, is there anything that you now know, now that you've gotten to know him better?
Yeah, he's you don't know a guy until you coach him. He's not a vocal guy, but he's a very serious guy, especially on the defensive end. And he talks a little bit, which I kind of like. He's an instigator in some ways, and I would have never known that about him.
Thank you.
Let's go to Dwayne Rankin and then Jeff Skversky. Go ahead, Dwayne.
Thank you. Yeah, Coach, obviously one of those all-stars is there in Atlanta, is a guy you're familiar with, Chris Paul. Did you think that he would have that kind of impact on the Suns this year?
Yeah, he's just so smart. We talked a long time yesterday. When we checked in, we came in together, and he's just such a smart player, man. Still obviously skilled, still athletic. But he's just, if you give Chris Paul a team of guys that want to follow, and that's the key. And Chris can be tough, but he's with the right group. They want to follow, they want to be led. Then Chris, there's no better player in the NBA for that.
And just a quick follow with him and Devin, the combination that they've had. When you guys played them, what did you see in those two as far as synergy that you feel like can continue on to the second half of the season?
Yeah, they've played together like they've been together for a long time. But I think he's helped Ayton. I think he's helped the entire team. Devin has always needed a guy that could get him the ball in the right spots. You think about Devin for his first 4 or 5 years, he's had to play with the ball and score.
Right.
And now he can get it off of picks. He can get it off of transition passes. I think Chris has probably helped Devin the most as far as the guys on the team.
Thanks, Coach.
Let's go to Jeff Skversky and then Dan Wojcicki. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hey, what's up, Doc? How are you?
What's going on?
Obviously, if Ben and Joel are not able to play tonight in the All-Star game, how much do you feel for them? It's an honor to get to the All-Star game and, be a part of the festivities. And I know maybe as their coach with the Sixers, you're like, all right, maybe they could use the rest. But overall, what would be your disappointment and how much would you feel for them if they're not able to participate in the festivities tonight?
Well, I would feel more for them that they have COVID. you know what I'm saying? They get to make the team still, and they're on the team. And so not playing, obviously being their coach, I jokingly told them I was playing them each 30 seconds or, now I only have one of them anyway. And I was playing all the other guys that Giannis and the guys who are in our conference and we may play. I was playing them 47 minutes. But listen, you want to play, you want to be in the jersey, and the fact that they can't be in there is a bummer for them. But more importantly, obviously, is their health.
And when do you expect to maybe find out what's kind of maybe a final decision or what may kind of transpire here?
Well, my phone was ringing as we were talking, and I know that number because I often get it when I get fined. And so I didn't answer it, but I'll answer it after I could have answered it during the call, which would have been fun for you guys. But
yeah, you can put it on speaker.
Yeah, put that on. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, thank you. So I think we'll know pretty soon. I think we actually do know. I'll find out right after this.
All right, let's go to Dan Wojcicki and then Mark Medina.
Hey, Doc, congrats on the discipline. That minibar looks mostly intact. This is kind of a pretty broad question, but in your time from being a player to coaching in Orlando, and I saw it firsthand with the Clippers, I'm going to guess your sort of opinion on practice evolved and what a productive day of practice consisted of. What do you think the biggest changes are in that? And obviously the rest benefits have been helpful, but have there been negative impacts to teams not practicing?
Yeah, I thought it killed us last year. As you were around enough to know that we never practiced. We never had enough guys to practice. And you go through a training camp, and in the first 14 games, without your best two players ever having one practice together, eventually it's going to come back and get you. As far as timing, down the stretch, fourth quarter sets, as someone talked about, earlier. So there have definitely been things that have hurt. And I think it depends on the team. If you're the Utah Jazz, a team that's been together, or the Milwaukee Bucks, teams that have been together, it probably hurts less. But teams like us and several other teams, it probably hurts more. And so we're going to have to be creative, Dan, with practice and rest, and, we're not sure which way we're going to go with this. We're thinking about, doing mid-afternoon practices the day before the game and use them as walkthrough end practices. That's probably the best we're going to be able to do.
Guys, we've got 5 more minutes, so we'll get as many in as we can, starting with Mark Medina and then Alex Glaze. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Doc, good to see you. With the 1-year anniversary approaching of the season shutdown, I was wondering if you can reflect on just what sticks with you that day, both before the Utah and OKC game went down and then everything that happened afterwards.
Well, I just remember our game. We played Golden State, and I remember when we landed in San Francisco and went to the hotel with the police escort, and no one were on the streets in San Francisco. I remember thinking, this is not good, and getting to the game and no one was there. I think they had like 30% of the crowd at the game. You knew something, Mark, was going to happen. Selfishly, I would say as a team is probably the best we were playing. So I didn't want to shut down at that moment. But then once the shutdown started, I didn't know if we would have a season. I wasn't very optimistic. And, I'm glad we were able to pull it off.
Let's go to Alex and then Christos. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Doc. Yesterday, Adam Silver pretty much said that players, it's going to be up to them about vaccines and, their own personal choices. Just your thoughts on that, and if you think that's an effective way to handle vaccines and that whole situation.
Yeah, I want to push. I'm really pushing for the coaches. We're the older group in the room, and I think the sooner we can all get the vaccines, the better. I also think it'll be good for our public. Our public trust. I'm for 100%. I think they're important, and I'm a Black man that needs to say that because I think it's important. We have a history with vaccines that aren't very positive in this country, and so the more of us can get out in front and say we're willing to do it, I think it's important.
Just because there have been players that maybe don't agree with you about players being spokespersons for the vaccine. Just your thoughts when you hear that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. We don't all have to agree, man. I learned that long ago. Everybody doesn't have to agree with each other, and we can still be good. You know what I'm saying? And so I think this is going to be one of those cases, and they're right in whatever they feel as well. No one's wrong in this. It's just your personal preference. Mine is to get it. Mine is to get as many people that's possible that can get it. But this is a very personal thing for a lot of people. And I get that.
Let's go to Christos and then last one to Brian Tapora. Go ahead, Christos.
Hello, Coach. Thank you for your time. I would like to ask you, how special is this appearance for you in this All-Star game, and how different is the game without fans in the stands for you personally?
Yeah, it's going to be different. I can't wait for fans to get back. I think that will be a definite mask issue for the coaches. Trying to get them to hear us through masks now are almost impossible. But as far as with fans, I can't wait. I think just the energy of that is amazing. For an All-Star game, it's great. I think for regular games is even better. And it's nice. Listen, being on the All-Star team is always an honor. I jokingly, I guess it's half jokingly, said I would much rather be at Bel Air Country Club right now, losing money on the golf course. But this is a pretty special place to be.
All right, last one to Brian Tapori.
Hey, Doc. So fingers crossed Ben and Joel are okay. But, with this break, did you talk to your guys about, give them any advice about trying to hang low and, not get into any potential trouble in terms of COVID? And are you concerned, at the second half of the season, we don't have the run up with training camp in the preseason. So we're going right back into games. Are you concerned that this break could contribute to some contact tracing issues and the first couple of weeks of the second half of the season could be bumpy?
Yeah, the league did a great job as far as at least getting the information out. Elton Brand and Daryl talked to the team right after the game. We jokingly said, let's get it in clubs on 3, being sarcastic, because the memo was no clubs, no restaurants. Please be smart, stay home if you can. And we're hoping they do that, Ryan. Guys, so far, listen, I've been very surprised and proud of our guys, because this is a young group of guys who do believe they're invincible. Let's just make that right. They do. They're not scared of much of anything, and they've done great staying out of all that stuff for the most part. And so let's hope that they can all do it over this break, because the last thing we need is an outbreak to start this second half. I mean, it looks like we may be having one as a team. So I'm already concerned.